Hello, and welcome back to the Fae Banner Review, where we talk about everyone's favorite seasonal theme. No, not summer, or winter, or tea, it's brides, we're talking about brides. And not just that, a bridal banner full of Fae OCs. And to help illustrate its value, I will be using the Bridal Cordelia graph. Today's rankings will be based on how many things were copy and pasted onto this banner. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The support goes a long way. Thank you, I'd really appreciate it. First up, we have Peony, who you may remember from less than a year ago as Halloween Peony. She's a sword flyer instead of a blue tome flyer, so that's unique, I guess. Will there be anything else unique to this Peony? The answer may not surprise you. Let's see. Peony comes with Braided Blade, which is a slaying sword with built-in pass, and it allows her to warp within 2 spaces of any ally within 2 spaces of her. It grants Spectrum 15 during combat, 25 true damage, 15 true damage reduction, a special jump of 1 before her first attack, and for any ally within 3 rows and columns of Peony, they get Spectrum 5 during combat, 10 true damage and 10 true damage reduction, and a special jump of 1 before their first attack. Peony also comes with a PRF Assist and Tender Vision, which is a dance that refreshes Kanto. It grants Reflex and Empathy at the start of the player phase or enemy phase, and after start of turn effects go off, she neutralizes all stat penalties and removes 2 penalty effects on herself and any ally within 3 spaces of her. Wow, it's Halloween Peony! But newer. I know the bar is really low, but at least this unit does improve on her last ult. That's the last thing I could have said about Fallen Ivy from the previous banner. The thing that made Halloween Peony awkward was that she had to dance the grant reflex to allies, which was not only really slow, but also annoying if you had to rely on the effect. Bride Peony just giving it out immediately is a massive change, despite it being the same bonuses. Honestly, I had to go back and double check the differences because to the surprise of absolutely no one, there really isn't much new here. On the weapon side of things, Bride trades out Kanto 1, penalty neutralization, and 7 HP for 5 defense and res, 10 true damage reduction, and a special jump. And on the assist, Bride trades out Visible Spectrum 5 for 3 space penalty cleanse and removes 2 penalty effects. They basically gave her the Attuned Micaiah cleanse in her assist, which is honestly the most notable change here. I think it's partly because with Emblem Byleth being a thing, dancers need a lot more to compete, so between that, the special jump, and the true damage reduction, I think there's enough going on here that she's actually worth considering as a unit. So good news for those who summoned for her previous, now outdated ult not too long ago. Here's the strict upgrade. Enjoy!
Yeah!
Peony also comes with Shadow Smite 4 and a brand new B skill in Speed Defense Allure, which grants Kanto distance, and it inflicts -7 speed and defense, sabotage, speed shackle, and defense shackle on the closest foes and any foe within 2 spaces of them at the start of the turn and after taking an action when equipped by a unit with Sing or Dance as their assist skill. It inflicts -4 speed and defense during combat, grants 15 true damage, 7 first hits true damage reduction, and speed base null follow-up. I kinda like this skill. Regular dancers kinda needed a buff since Emblem Byleth got into the game, and while I'd like to see all of them get the Kanto refresh effect as a baseline, this isn't a bad start. Inflicting a bunch of penalties is pretty good since it can be done twice per turn. Besides that, the innate Kanto distance is pretty convenient in the combat stuff. Well, it's certainly there. Can't imagine most dancers will need it. Besides that, Shadow Smite is still a really great skill. Unfortunately, only flying and cav dancers can use both of these skills, but it is great fodder overall. So good news for those who summoned for her previous, now outdated ult fodder not too long ago. Here's the strict upgrade. Enjoy!
Boo!
And other than that, that sure is Peony. It's Halloween Peony, but better. It's also another source of reflex, which is cool enough. Having that be combined with a dancer and a start of turn cleanser is really good, honestly. I think she'll put in a solid amount of work as a support. Or you could wait less than a year for the newer version. With how they keep repeating stuff this book, I wouldn't even be surprised. Next, there's Air, and she's the demote this time around. You may remember her from, I don't actually remember the last time she got an ult. Apparently, it was nearly 4 years ago. That's a lot longer than I thought it'd be. Does the time between the ults make up for it here, though? Let's see. Air comes with Bride of Life, which is a slaying blue dagger with built-in Canto distance. It grants another action after using an assist skill. When using an assist skill, it restores 20 HP and removes any negative status on herself, the target, and any ally within 2 spaces of them. It grants Spectrum 15 during combat, 25 true damage, 15 true damage reduction, and Potent Follow 100. She also comes with a PRFC skill and Exuberant Boost, which nullifies adaptive damage. It grants herself and target ally Spectrum 5, 7 true damage, 7 true damage reduction, and a special jump of 1 before their first attack, and those target allies can either be within 3 rows and columns of air, or anywhere on the map as long as they have at least 50% of their HP. Air herself gets an additional 18 true damage during combat, full no follow-up, and Miracle once per combat. That's surprisingly really good. Air is basically flying Ymir with Action Eco or Emblem Micaiah in that case, but I like the Ymir comparison more. Removing all penalties with an action is really convenient, and the fact that she could do it twice per turn already makes her appealing as a support unit. The extra action means she also doesn't have to run Micaiah Ring, she can instead run the Byleth Ring for dance support, or even the Lyn Ring for getting blown up in combat. She has combat effects, but I honestly don't care for them. The support is the main drive here. And speaking of drive, Exuberant Boost also has a lot going for it. It grants Air 25 true damage and Miracle, which honestly is a lot for a C skill. Maybe she can get away with a combat niche. Still, I'm way more focused on it giving 7 true damage and 7 true damage reduction, some extra stats, and a special jump to allies. I especially like that it can be used map-wide, which means the additional support should almost always be active. It's not hard to be within 3 rows and columns of her, but now you don't even have to think about it. And considering what it gives out, it can make the difference at times. I think the only criticism I have is that it's occupying her C skill, which is where most Flyers support skills come from. It would have been a massive improvement if it was an A skill or B skill instead. At least Flyers can run decent support options for their B skill though. Favor is a classic that a lot of units still like. Since she is a dagger unit, she can run Disarm or Clear as her A skill, so you could run something else. If we had a newer version of Detect Aerial, that would be really great for her too. And speaking of which, Air also comes with Reposition and Speed Defense Detect Aerial. Who could have seen that one coming? Detect Aerial came out a few months ago on the Valentine's banner, so having it on a demote already is really cool. It grants map-wide true damage, stat swings, and lull, which is really strong. The only caveat is that you need to make a res check, but that shouldn't be hard for most units running these types of skills anyway. But if it makes you feel better, Reposition can be used on almost anyone. You're getting fodder value no matter what.
Yes.
And other than that, that sure is Air. I'm very happy we're continuing to get really good demotes between Minerva, Claude. Okay, maybe not those two. Air is a fantastic action eco unit that is very easy to obtain. Even as a stronger Ymir, I think she's worth going out of your way for. And then there's Reagan, and she's the rearmed of the banner. She's also an axe, which means every axe unit officially has something they can use now. Isn't that nice? Hope you don't mind the aesthetic of it though. It's a cake. An Arcane Cake, which is a slaying axe that grants 6 visible defense and res, empathy, and dull to herself and any ally within 2 spaces at the start of the player phase or enemy phase. It grants Spectrum 15 during combat, 25 true damage, 15 true damage reduction, an additional 15 true damage reduction when a foe special goes off, and 50% damage reduction piercing. And as for her exclusive skill, she has Sather Cannon, which is a 4 cooldown special that boosts her damage by 80% of her speed stat and targets the lower of the foe's defense or res. It grants Truly Incited and Dodge to herself and any ally within 2 spaces at the start of the player phase or enemy phase. It grants 40% special damage reduction, and during turns 1 through 4, it grants 3 special jumps before her first attack and first follow-up attack during combat, and for every other turn, it only grants 1 special jump. Well, at least she's cute? Okay, Reagan herself may not be that good, but you know, that arcane axe, it's not that good either. It's fine on the basis of copy and pasted arcanes. It's literally nothing you haven't already seen before, but it's functional, which is the last thing I could say about Reagan. She has some decent start of turn bonuses with Truly Incited and Dodge, but she doesn't really do a whole lot besides that. Being able to spam Sather Cannon and get Potent Follow 100 isn't the worst, but that's really the extent of her combat. I wouldn't even consider the adaptive damage since every modern savior skill disables it. I'd argue Air has more going on combat-wise on the basis of Miracle. I think if they were going to give her one skill to work with, it should have had a bit more going on. Maybe throw in feud or disabling specials on follow-ups like Legendary Ira did. Just a bit more to help her out combat-wise. It's not unusable as is, but it blends in with every modern PRF in the game, so she's basically just a fodder unit. But instead of focusing on the negative aspects, I'm going to take the Arcane Cake approach. She gives out good fodder, and you can still use her after foddering a copy. Not sure if you'll want to, but you can do that if you want. I'm gonna do that because I like Reagan a lot. Reagan also comes with Blue Sky Gust, Attack Speed Outcry Seize, and a brand new beast skill in Riptide Guard, which inflicts Spectrum -4 on foes during combat. It grants 20% speed-based or defense-based true damage and true damage reduction based on which stat is higher, grants full no follow-up, nullifies breath effects, inflicts guard, and inflicts scowl on the foe's first attack. Actually, I take it back. This is just Flow Guard, but newer. It is pretty good, at least given how it nullifies breath effects on top of it inflicting guard and scowl. This makes it easier to prevent specials that could otherwise be charged up again on follow-ups. The added true damage and true damage reduction is nice too, since the original lacked it. Riptide is basically just another skill option for melee calves and flyers, which is nice enough. Besides that, Blue Sky Gust is Blue Sky Gust. We've seen it a lot this year, and it's still good. And Outcry Seize is incredibly niche, so you could completely ignore it for the most part. No, I am not trying to make Nurgle usable again, but I definitely wouldn't mind if he was. And other than that, that sure is Reagan. She's really not that crazy of a unit, but I don't remember the last time I said that about a Rearmed. I feel like they've all been built with being foddered in mind, which, to be fair, that's the gimmick, but barely when it comes to unit design. But at least she does that decently enough. Debatably, it's your only axe option, take it or leave it. And finally, we have Ash and Melia, and they're the duo this time around. You may remember what I said about 10 minutes ago about Peony, who you may also remember from less than a year ago as Halloween Peony. This is the same case as we had in Twined Ash less than a year ago, but at the very least, this Ash is different enough. Hopefully, please be somewhat unique, please. She comes with Uniting Bouquet, which is a slaying colorless tome with built-in Phantom Res 5. It grants 6 visible attack defense and res, fringe bonus, bulwark, and imbue to herself and any ally within 3 spaces of her at the start of the player phase or enemy phase. It grants 16 attack defense and res during combat, 25 true damage, 15 true damage reduction, guard, and upwards of 3 special jumps based on the number of allies within 3 rows and columns of her. She also comes with a PRFC skill and Inaugural Vassal, which has built-in Omni Guidance, grants a weapon triangle advantage, and inflicts a weapon triangle disadvantage on red, blue, and green foes during combat. It nullifies effects that boost weapon triangle advantages and disadvantages. For herself and any ally within 3 rows and columns of her, it grants 5 additional attack defense and res during combat, 7 true damage, 7 true damage reduction, full tempo, and 40% mini reflect from the foe's first attack. And it grants a guaranteed follow-up attack to herself during combat, on top of a dual button that grants a reflex to herself and any ally within 2 spaces of her, as well as Divine Vein Stone within 2 spaces. Well, I guess it's different enough? Question mark? I'm lying to myself, aren't I? Well, if nothing else, her combat seems to have significantly improved between ults since she can mess around with weapon triangle stuff now. That combined with the amount of special jumps she has, she could probably hit decently hard, but honestly, I think I mostly care about the support. She still has the Omni Guidance stuff and drive support with mini reflect, but now she has full tempo on top of that, which is pretty good. It benefits Ash more since she has innate guard, which is a really good combination for preventing specials from charging. Besides that, she gives out bulwark as a status instead of having it selfishly, which is pretty nice for something like Aetherite's defense. They also replaced the Resonance Shields bonus for Fringe bonus, which is a nice upgrade too. And to top it all off, her duo button is fine, I guess, I don't know. It applies stones and gives out reflex, but if you think Halloween Peony is bad at giving out reflex support, this is so much worse. It is extra stuff though, so why not? But besides that, it does just feel like a newer Entwined Ash. She'll probably function well enough as a hybrid combat support unit, but it's nothing that exciting. I think the only thing I like about Entwined Ash over Duo is that her bonuses are also applied to allies she's supporting, which means it could be applied map-wide. Granted, the bonuses here are stronger, but giving it out globally is pretty huge. She also gave out a bouquet, which is weirdly absent from this banner considering the theme. Instead, she gives out some decent fodder. She comes with Attack Res Unrest, Comet, and a brand new A skill in Close Attack Defense Res Bond, which has built-in close counter, grants 10 attack defense and res during combat, penalty neutralization to those stats, and 7 first hits true damage reduction. that sure is close counter in 2026. It is a good skill, but the jumping quality is throwing me off. There's a lot packed into it, and it kind of makes me wish we got a speed variant of it too. But yeah, it is just close counter, but new, and it's good for what it is. Besides that, Comet is a decent special, and Unrest is back for the 3rd banner in a row. It's a good skill, but it's crazy just how much they've reprinted it already, considering it's less than a month old. But you know what? If it means it's less limited, then I'll gladly take it. It's still limited because it's a seasonal, but you know what I mean.
I do not object.
And other than that, there sure is Ashe and Melia. It's a newer entwined Ashe, which is fine. She has better support, better combat, and she's a duo, which lends itself well for other things. If you need a unit that does any of this stuff, then great, here you go. I don't think she's a must pull or anything, but she's fine for what she is. And to top it all off, there's the free stuff. Normally, I'd ask who doesn't like free stuff, but considering what we've been getting lately, there might be people who don't. However, this time around, we got Anna as our Tempest trial unit. And sure, it would have been way better to get something new. I think that's what most people want even now. But this is the first Tempest trial unit since the change that actually has something worthwhile. Bride Anna comes with C Feud, which is really good. Feud skills in general are really nice to have, especially since most units have some kind of support nowadays. And it could also be used as bridge fodder for the Beast Feud skills, even though they're kinda niche, but it is good. So I'm happy to report that we got something of value for the first time since the Tempest trial change. Ignore the rest of her kit, just look at C Feud. And as for the Sacred Seals, we got Defense Res Clash and Attack Defense Tempo. Somehow the Tempest trial unit is the best thing here. Never thought I'd say that. And overall, thank you for giving us C Feud. And that's the banner. Yep. Okay, bye! And now that we've gone over the brand new bridal units, we will now rank them on the Bridal Cordelia graph. And according to this, it's earned a free thinker out of 10. Their creativity is off the charts with this one, folks. Multiple units that are the same thing but slightly stronger. They really outdid themselves here. Yet that begs the question, is it enough to justify spending orbs on the banner? Honestly, it might be. It may not be the most exciting banner ever, but it has a lot of stuff going for it. Peony fixes everything that was bad about her Halloween version and tunes it up even more by giving her additional support with cleanse and special jumps. Halloween is still technically usable, but if you don't already own her, then this is the one you should aim for instead. Air is basically a stronger Ymir with the benefits of being really accessible. She also has innate action economy, which is really great for getting multiple cleanses off, and a really good pure FC skill for additional support. You really couldn't go wrong with grabbing a copy. Ashe, meanwhile, is basically a newer version of her Entwined alt with a lot more support, granting several strong bonuses, reflex and stuns with a button, and additional drive support is a lot from one unit, and that's not even including her combat, which seems to be solid, especially due to the instant specials and the combination of guard and tempo. She seems to have a decent amount of stuff going for her. I think the only really mediocre unit here is a Reagan, and even then she's a rearmed unit which has value by itself. Her weapon is nothing crazy, it's another copy and paste arcane with 2 random effects and they're fine. It definitely beats out the other available axes at least. Besides that though, Sather Cannon can only do so much by itself. She really is just a fodder unit, but it is a lot of good fodder at least. But besides that, the banner has a lot of value overall that it should be worth considering. If you don't like it, then there's always the Fallen banner and it has okay stuff on it. Byleth is another unit with 3 space style, there's 2 rearms, and there's Ivy, but newer and debatably worser than Winter. If that doesn't interest you either, then you could just save the orbs. We're due for some summer banners soon, and I'd imagine that'll be more of a priority for people. But you really couldn't go wrong with either of them, TBH, 2BH, to be quite H. Unfortunately, I will not be skipping, so wish me luck and subscribe, especially that second part.
Yeah,